Ma, 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 ma.
We parents need to understand that our children may know the pitfalls that we taught them, yet they will sometimes have to drag themselves out of their own pits in order to learn to reach up for God instead of reaching up for us, steering them in the direction of God Almighty. That is the best way to raise an adult child. Why hearing God's voice is essential to motherhood. Written by Evangelist Angie B. and published by Ladero Press.
Ma.
So when I say that it's over, it's over, it's over, yeah. Man, I mean that it's over, it's over, it's over, yeah. The game's over. Lights out, game tight, game ready. You stack the chips against me, my deepest sympathy. Lights out, game tight, game ready. Don't ever bet against me, cause when I say that it's over, it's over, it's over, yeah. Man, I mean that it's over, it's over, it's over, yeah. The game's over. Our Father who art in heaven, it's time for me to share my confession. Been burnt by the flames and I learned my lesson. Took all the pain and death without question. Cause no matter what I did or I didn't do, I can never throw shade or put it on you. My choices were my choices, but I made it out, so I gotta say thank you. You think that you could ever stop me now? Gotta keep it moving, I ain't losing, I'm standing on higher ground. So when I say that it is over now, I ain't playing around. Cause when I say that it's over, it's over, it's over, yeah. Man, I mean that it's over, it's over, it's over, yeah. The game's over. Lights out, game tight, game ready. You stack the chips against me, my deepest sympathy. Lights out, game tight, game ready. Don't ever bet against me, cause when I say that it's over, it's over, it's over, yeah. Man, I mean that it's over, it's over, it's over, yeah. The game's over. Think you're tough, but I had enough, yeah. Shots fired, man, I call you bluff. I'm in it to win it, what a start, I'm going to finish, no question. When I say it's over, meant that, and I don't talk my game, I live that. I'm on another level, never settle, never has that. Better call the reverend, cause the sermon gonna need that. You think that you could ever stop me now? Gotta keep it moving, I ain't losing, I'm standing on higher ground. So when I say that it is over now, I ain't playing around. Cause when I say that it's over, it's over, it's over, yeah. Man, I mean that it's over, it's over, it's over, yeah. The game's over. Lights out, game tight, game ready. You stack the chips against me, my deepest sympathy. Lights out, game tight, game ready. Don't ever bet against me, cause when I say that it's over, it's over, it's over, yeah. Man, I mean that it's over, it's over, it's over, yeah. The game's over, the game's over, the game's over. So when I say that it's over, the game's over, the game's over, the game's over. So when I say that it's over, the game's over.
First, there was fashion, then luxury, London Fashion Week, lifestyle, celebrities, international fashion, and luxury lifestyle, creativity and advertising. For 9 years, This magazine publisher has connected and inspired readers from around the globe. Now, this daring entrepreneur introduces her newest project, featuring women in business, providing worldwide exposure and empowering them to succeed. It's time for you to experience Contessa's Court, Women in Business. To watch highlight and interview features from those introduced in the magazine, be sure to watch Contessa's Court, the talk show, airing Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. For advertising and more information, send an email to contessascourt@gmail.com. That's contessascourt@gmail.com. Conversations about fashion, business, family, lifestyle, beliefs, and more. Contessa's Court, Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On April 1st, 2023, our Father woke me up to begin this writing. As my computer awoke from sleep mode, a Facebook memory popped up. At first, I didn't want to read it and fall down that rabbit hole of clicking and reading and clicking and scrolling. I had spent March 31st in the ebbs and flows of life, receiving great news and experiencing greater stress. During my waking hours, I longed for a peaceful night of rest, and last night did not disappoint. Now I see how God has allowed me to begin my healing from the grief. A marriage separation is a precarious place to be. On one hand, you miss the good times you shared with another. On the other hand, you find yourself traveling the cycles of grief, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance, as defined by a psychiatrist in 1969. This next part of my story made me smile, laugh, and rejoice over the memory. It made me see just how far I have come with my healing towards acceptance. The Winds of Change by Evangelist Angie B.
Happy Mother's Day. My name is Pastor Dr. Melinda Watts, and I am a proud mother of 9 children with a blended family and 8 grandchildren. One thing that I learned from my grandmother and my mother, I learned determination. I learned how to be a homemaker. I learned never to quit, and that you can do anything if you put your mind to it. Secondly, what I learned as a mother and a grandparent is, as a mother, each child is different. And as a grandparent, you spoil the grandchildren so that the children can experience the things they put their parents through when they were younger. The children have a tendency to say that the grandchildren gets away with a lot more than what they got away with. Also, the advice that I would give to every parent, grandparent that is raising a child is love your children unconditionally. For each one of them are different. They are gifts that the Lord has loaned to us, and also make sure we train them up in the way of the Lord so that when they grow old, they won't depart from it. Also, if I could do something different, oh my God, I think I would be a little bit more lenient on my children because they had a hard knock life. I was disciplined. They were disciplined just the way I was disciplined. You spare the rod, you spoil the child. But if I could do something differently, it would be a little bit more lenient on them in the rearing. You have a blessed Mother's Day. God bless.
Tam here, coming to you from Favored. Just reaching out to let you know about our upcoming inaugural fundraiser, 24 Hours of Favor. And so for 24 hours, we're going to be broadcasting to raise funds for our Life Skills program. It's a 5-week program in which we provide services to parents that have perinatal and postpartum mood disorders. So we're talking about anxiety, we're talking about levels of depression, we're even talking about forms of psychosis that sometimes take place in these individuals' lives. And what we do as a community, taking a community approach, we make certain that we let these individuals know that they have a tribe in which they can turn to help support them in their walks of life as they're pressing through. Won't you make it your business to tune in, join us in conversations, even possibly pledge, right? For $35, you can send someone through a 5-week program. We hope to see you then.
Tam here, coming to you from Favored. May is Maternal Mental Health Month. Yes, it is a thing. Did you know that women of any age, race, culture, and income level can experience perinatal anxiety, depression, and other mood disorders? That symptoms normally start to develop when a woman is pregnant and through their first year after childbirth. and that there are well-researched and well-effective methods for which a person can recover? There is. And this is where Maternal Matters Favorite come in. We provide counseling, support groups, and a life skills program to parents and backing them up while they're balancing out parenthood and life all at one time. Remember, there's no manual to parenting, but there is a tribe for every parent. We hope that you join us.
Let's Change Together, 4th annual event. Women's Love Within Conference. Let's change together. Women's Love Within can be understood as the practice of cultivating self-love, self-acceptance, and self-compassion among women. It involves developing a positive and nurturing relationship with oneself, embracing one's strengths, weaknesses, and imperfections, and treating oneself with kindness and respect. The concept of women's love within recognizes that women often face societal pressures and expectations that can undermine their self-esteem and self-worth. These pressures can come in the form of beauty standards, gender roles, and cultural norms that dictate how women should look, behave, and think. By prioritizing women's love within, women can learn to counteract these negative influences and build a strong sense of self that is not dependent on external validation. This can lead to increased confidence, resilience, and overall well-being. Women's love within can be fostered through various practices, such as self-reflection, mindfulness, self-care, and self-compassion exercises. This will be our first year streaming live. For more information, please visit barnettpublishing.org. That's barnettpublishing.org. Promotional consideration for this event is provided by Business with a Heart and Angie B. Productions.
Good morning. Welcome to Dream Life Unfolded. Hey, mamas. I've got a fabulous speaker here for you today, and her name is Tamara McElroy. So we'll let Tamara tell you who she is, what she does, why she does it, and who she does it for. So Tamara.
Good morning, good afternoon, and hello, everyone. Once more, my name is Tamara. Everyone calls me Tam, so I'm like, please feel free to do the same. And so I am. I'm a mom. I'm an entrepreneur. I have been a W-2. You know, I'm a person of a congregation. I'm an advocate, right? I'm all of the above, but overall, I'm a human, and so I'm happy to be here with you all.
So happy to have you here. You have a very lively background, and you are a pillar in the community in which you live, and you have so much to bring to the table here for our audience. So you were a W-2, but now you are an entrepreneur. You're a business owner. You actually have 2 businesses that you run. So tell us a little bit about your businesses.
Absolutely. And so I have Management and Consultative Favor, which is my LLC. It's a project management consulting firm. I'm a program manager by corporate trade. And gosh, the story behind that, it was something that, you know, in 2016, a past associate that I used to work with reached out and wanted some assistance when they went into private practice by themselves. And my book of business kept growing. And so God was like, you know, you need to give that a formalized name and an official business structure. And I did. And so in 2019, I went ahead and incorporated it. And
built the website, printed some business cards, but I still had my corporate America job. So I was just like, back to that, I got that. And God worked it right where I got laid off later on that year. And, so it gave me time to grow and develop it and so forth, but just still really used to, that corporate type of paycheck, right? I went back, I found me another corporate job and I was miserable. And I was like, God, fix it. So I was like effective immediately. And I've been, blessed by it ever since. And so I get a chance to work with human service providers throughout the country. These are your licensed clinical social workers, psychologists, behavioral analysts, case management organizations, nonprofits, so forth, right? And I help them build community-based programs. And so, it could be anything from a program design and helping them implement a supportive living services type of operations, or helping them get proposals completed, grants made and won, right? I just have a client in Tallahassee and we just won $100,000 for her team to do some counseling out there in Leon County. So that was a blessing to them. I once more, I have clients in California. This is what I do. And I love it. And so that's the project management consulting firm. And then I have a new baby, which is called Maternal Matters Favored. And that's my nonprofit. And so the mission of this organization is to pretty much be a conduit for resources for organizations that provide services to those that are going through perinatal and postpartum depression, as well as women reproductive health care issues. And so overall, at the end of the day, this is something that's very close to my heart. I went through perinatal and postpartum depression. I didn't know what it was back then 20 years ago, right? But later on realized and learned that's exactly what it was. And so it's my, my goal to make certain that I help women that are going through that. And then the human healthcare reproductive piece came in. I have a client in Nigeria, in Abu, Nigeria, and we were working through some of her policies and procedures, and she has a cervical cancer screening and case management organization. And I was like, what are some of your plights over there? And she expressed that is pretty much they're in location space and they're buckling at the seams. And of course, it doesn't belong to them. And then of course, finances, right? And so, they're using outdated equipment and things to that effect. And it was like, how can I help them? And for the most part, there was nothing I could do via my LLC, but ask for donations, which anyone could do. But God laid it on my heart to go ahead, and I had a business plan for the perinatal and postpartum organization that I had wrote in 2018. I was like, I need therapists, I need building space. This is not feasible. I'm gonna put it in the drawer, right? In the electronic drawer. But God was like, bring that thing out, you know what I mean? Redesign it. And I went ahead and implemented it with the goal once more to be able to help those type of providers. So these are things that I'm really passionate about.
I could feel your passion, and for very good reason, because you're helping everybody. You're helping businesses become a business. You're helping people to, you're a conduit. And that's what we are. We help people get from here to there. So your question was, what is your plight? Meaning you have to know what someone needs to be able to give it to them.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So, and God is always providing, always guiding. And so God told you, pull that thing out, pull that plan out. And you're like, okay, but it doesn't work. You stuck it back in the digital file. God said, get the thing out. And so then you reworked it and everything worked out. So that is awesome.
Yes, yes. Sometimes we just truly got to be obedient, and it's easier when you are obedient and listen to the Lord. He's just made a way that I can't even. It's indescribable.
Yes, because once you step in, you can have a plan, but you have no idea how that plan will evolve.
That's
When
right.
you, I like to use the word surrender. You let it go. And always being aware that you're guided in every single thing. And you've never been led to a place that does not work. You've always been led forward and
Yeah.
fuller and fulfilling. So it's great to be in a space where you can recognize that you have that voice inside, that you have that power inside of you that's
Yes.
there.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, you mentioned about dipping in and out of the corporate environment. As an entrepreneur, we do that. I've done it a million times in my real estate business. And even as I've been developing my coaching business, you want to hold on to what you feel like is security, but it isn't. And sometimes you need to go there because you do have to put the food on the table and you've got to
Mhm.
stabilize some things. And that's quite all right. It's a part of the path.
Absolutely. And you know how I've learned and I've grown and got a little smarter these days. And so I vowed to never be a W-2 again. It's like, look, I already know what that feels like, where it goes, you know. And so sometimes I'll pick up corporate contracts. And you know what I mean? And so as a project manager, I'm able to get a contract for a year. In fact, I just came off of one. It was from March of last year and it ended in April. And then I said, okay, I'm going to take the rest of this year with knowing that I was launching the nonprofit, because I literally launched the nonprofit in April of this year. And then also advancing operations with the project management consulting firm. And so it's things like that that I feel like as we grow older, we become a little more wiser, you know, and we're able to discern what's the best fit for us. You know, a lot of times, regrettably, I admit in my youth, right? I would be like, oh my gosh, I pray I'm a good fit. I hope they hire me, please. And, you know, get in there and the whole workplace culture is jacked, you know what I mean? And you're like, but I need this job. I already left my other job. And, you know, and you would stay, you know, behind to something that was truly just not feeding you the way that you needed to, you know what I mean? And I know I did it for several years throughout working for one organization. I remember when I would write a proposal every year and like, hey, I'm in school, I'm getting this degree. I look what this course I took, this and that. And nothing. And I remember one time I was talking to one of the owners and I was like, how come you guys don't promote me? I mean, they would give me raises, you know what I mean? But I was stuck doing something that was so mundane. Like in my drive in, I already had my day planned, like 10 o'clock, 12, 1 p.m. I'm like done, you know what I mean? And so I'm trying to look busy kind of thing, you know, those. And this owner looked at me squared in the eye and said, you're good at what you do. Why would we move you? And I was like, oh, I got it. You know what I mean? And the mission became, I was like, okay, mission, get out of here. You know, and so I've learned it once more, you know, just taking moments, and I call it levels of self-actualization.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You got to do some self-work, you know, get to think about why, you know, it's when they call it psychoanalyzing yourself, you know what I mean? And your who, why, when, you know, and so forth. And it's in different aspects of your life, in your professional life and your personal life. And then it goes down into different quadrants. You got to break that thing down in order to start to get levels of fulfillment. And so that's what I had to do. I was like, what works for me? You know what I mean? Because like you mentioned, I have bills to pay, you know what I mean? I'm not making corporate money, but I still got a corporate car note. Like I'm still making corporate money, you know what I mean? Like, so you have to balance those things out and be able to once more be true to yourself. Because at the end of the day, if you place yourself in a position and you're really unhappy, unsatisfied, you know what I mean? That thing is going to eat at you on the inside. And at the end of the day, for me, I learned it's no paycheck is that fat where it's worth my mental health. I promise you.
That's said a mouthful. And you can't build anything being in an environment that you have no control over. And your value is often not recognized. Actually, it is. They know what you're giving them, but they're not willing to give you an opportunity to even give more and be more. So that's a hard thing. But, you know, got those mortgages to pay, you've got those children to feed, you've got the real day-to-day stuff that you have to do. And being an entrepreneur is not for the weak. I say it all the time. It's like many times I've like dipped out because it was time to go do me. But for my own personal self, I never really marketed myself. And so if you don't show up and be visible and let people know what you do, they don't know and you don't get any money. And at the end of the day, we need to make some money. We need to not only we're providing services for people, but you get compensated for the value you put into the world.
Absolutely.
So yeah, entrepreneurship can be scary, but at a certain point, like you said, you have to look at yourself and you know in your heart, because like you said, driving into work, you already know. And you spend your time at work, then you come home and you're burning the candle at the other end, staying up all night, oftentimes working on your baby that you're birthing, because it is like birthing a baby. You have to nurture that baby.
Absolutely.
You got to take care of it before it shows up physically. And then once it pops and you're out here, it's like it's on.
Yeah. And if you don't feed it, like you said, it doesn't grow. So you don't feed it, you don't get fed. And so, you know, regrettably, too often, some folks aren't willing to actually take that gamble, you know. And I want to tell anyone who's maybe contemplating it, think and pray about it, right? And if God is leading you to it, I promise you, you will not go without lack. You won't. He will make a way. He would totally make a way. It sometimes blow my mind. I'm like, still have family vacations, you know what I mean? Still got that corporate car note I'm paying, right? But without the corporate paycheck, right? Like there's been no lack. I mean, I've gained about a good 30, 40 pounds in the past 2 years, you know, no lack. He will provide everything you need. Seriously, right? The dog still got dog food. And, you know, once more, it's all about, you know, making certain, and it's for me, I'm going to say, you know, that, you know, this is in alignment with God's will for my life, you know what I mean? For what he wants me to carry out in regards to doing his work, right? So I have this expertise, you know, they call it a SME, subject matter expert, with being able to build programs, you know, and have them be sustainable. I tell people, you don't want to build your business on sand, right? And
the foundation.
Right. And so, you know, this is my skill set. It's a collective piece of what I've been doing 20 plus years. And so it's actually, I'm a helper to providers who help people, you know what I mean? And so being able to help a clinician, and a lot of my clients, they are starting a business, or they're wearing multiple hats, you know what I mean? And so these clinicians are trying to provide counseling or, you know, case management services or whatever have you. And then they're also trying to make certain that their policies and procedures are in place, or, you know, that they're looking for grants, or that, you know, they're doing their billing for their insurance companies and this and that. And it's like, I'm your admin concierge, you know what I mean? Go ahead and focus on the clinical aspects of operations, and I got you on the other side of the fence, you know? And so this way they have more of a healthier work-life balance. And that's pretty much my slogan, you know what I mean? Like, I'm pioneering these strategies so that you can have that healthy work-life balance, because when you're burning that candle at both ends, and sometimes, you know, some of these providers as being startups, like we were just mentioning, they still have one foot in their regular job, right? Their W-2. It gets to be real messy. And we need effective policies, procedures, methodologies in place so that we can make certain that we're meeting, you know, the end goal. What's that service you're trying to provide to someone that's in crisis? You know what I mean? Or that is living in unstable housing, right? Talking about instability there and things like that. Let's get you to focus on that. Give me everything else, and we'll keep it moving from there.
Team that works. My goodness, that is one of the really effective ways to step into your real purpose, into what you came here to do, because it starts with, we don't feel like we can afford the help. But what I've realized is you cannot afford not to have the help.
That part.
And so it all comes down to the trust and belief. And I take it back to God has always provided everything, all the years, in every situation, no matter what it is. So why now should God not continue to provide? But you know, fear, that thing is very real.
Absolutely.
Although it isn't real at all, it's very real in our minds and in our spirits a lot of times, and it grabs you by the throat when you're looking for, like, okay, well, how am I going to make this happen? But it always does happen.
Yes. Yes.
So
And one of the things, you know, that's always constantly said, and it's so true, you know, you have to take that risk. You know, of course, you want it to be a weighted risk, you know what I mean? Just not
Yes.
jumping out there. But you know, if you lay out a strategic plan, and sometimes I tell folks, let's go straight into your business plan, which is, you know, is a strategic plan as well, you know, and these are living documents. But lay that thing out, put your goals into place, you know what I mean? Figure out how you're going to market it. I love what you mentioned about, you know, not putting yourself out there where no one knows that you got this thing, this amazing, great thing, right? And I know that for myself, because at times when I was working for the man, right, we'll say, right, I noticed that my business itself, the LLC, suffered. And so forth. And so, you know, it's those risks that you have to put into place if you really want to go ahead and do this thing. All you can do is just try.
listen, there's nothing wrong with trying, and it's okay. And there is no failure either. There is no failure. You might say, like, okay, I stepped out here and it didn't work. It's just that the timing wasn't right. And you did not fail. You learned what to do in a different way the next time, because as an entrepreneur, you're always going to have another time. As a person that's called to do a thing, you are going to do it.
Yeah, listen.
It makes me think about Jonah. You know, God said, go tell the people this thing. And Jonah was like, I'm not telling them because they're not going to listen, and you're going to do what you do anyway. So why? So, you know, he runs away, but you can't run away from the calling.
No,
You
like,
cannot run away. You're going to
listen,
do the
God,
thing.
God would be like, I said what I said, now go get it done. And you have to submit, be obedient. At the end of the day, like I said, he'll look out for you. He got you. He got your back.
And what you do is so important, because as talking about a foundation, setting up businesses properly is your thing. It's what you do. And we often don't begin with that route either, because we just don't know. We don't know what we don't know. And so we need someone to tell us what the value of setting up properly is. Not only is it about saving money and having tax benefits, which means that maybe you make less money than you did in your job, but the money goes further because you've got expenses that you can write off. Because they're not to like give anyone a whole how to set up your business, but do you want to speak to that piece?
I'm totally there with you. So yeah, perfect example. So God laid it on my heart that to start doing some workshops. I would have people that would call in and ask these questions. I would do, you know, do consults and so forth. And so it was like, okay, I'm always getting questions about how do I start a for-profit, a LLC, you know, or a S Corp, a C Corp. What's the difference? How do I start a nonprofit? You know, I want to get that minority woman veteran certification and so forth, you know, and just so forth and so on. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set up for the remainder of this year workshops. And so literally this past Saturday, I had a workshop for minority woman veteran owned certification, just giving folks nuggets. I call them jewels these days, right? With regards to the different state certifications, city, you know, county certifications that could be had, federal, and so forth and so on. And so I had some trickle-ins, you know, where folks have reached out and wanted to have one-on-ones. And one individual yesterday was like, yeah, I want to get that done, and this, that, and the next. And I was like, okay, do you have an operating agreement? You know what I mean? Your LLC, do you have an operating agreement? Do you have your business tax receipt? That is something you're going to have to submit with your application. Do you have your business plan? You know what I mean? Do you have this? Do you have that? Okay, hold on. Let's go. Let's do this stuff. Let's get these fundamentals into place, and we'll circle back to that that certification once you have these things. And it's like, once more, you know, for me, because I'm really passionate about it, right? And then of course this is my stamp on it, and I'm really anal about it, right? So, you know, it's like, I'm not gonna just go ahead and say, okay, let's go ahead and get you that, knowing that you're gonna be stuck. You know what I mean? You're not gonna, first of all, you know, you're missing some pieces that are gonna be required to actually be in the application for submittal. You know what I mean? So then we're on hold there and so forth. And it's like, you know, well, did you know, kind of thing? You know what I mean? Like, my work ethic is really that strong, right? I want to make certain that if you're my client, that I'm really setting you up for success, and not just, it's not for me at the end of the day just to grab a buck. You know what I mean? I want to see this thing all the way through. So I tell clients, you know, when you sign that contract with me, I've now become your biggest fan and your hardest coach. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? Do you have that? Did you send that over? What time we meeting? Are you there? Look, where are you at? You late? Like, we got to get this done, you know what I mean? And so forth. And that's just how I am, you know, working in with different government entities, you know what I mean? And so forth, you know, they were real rigid, and it was like, no side leaning here or there. You know, this is what that statement of work says, and that's what I'm paying you to do, get it done. And so, you know, it's that adaptation of the same work mentality in my own business, right? Why would I have that kind of a work ethic for someone else and not even have that for my own thing? You know what I mean? And I listened to Eric Thomas. I don't know if anyone has ever heard of him. He's a motivational speaker. I call him like the new age Les Brown.
Okay. I've not heard of him, so I'll need to look him up.
He's phenomenal, and he's also a pastor. And sometimes his name is like the hip hop preacher, but he gives it to you real raw and get it and gritty. And, you know, he's like, look, you can't be loving sleep more than you love, you know, pouring into your business. You know what I mean? Why would you give 100% to someone else's business and not to yourself? You know, and point blank, I had another individual that wanted to work, and I'm like, do you have an accounting system? If you're going to be putting out, you know, these proposals, you know, they're going to want to know, how are you, you know, how are your books? Can you provide a P&L? You know what I mean? You can't just hand jam some things into an Excel sheet. I mean, you know what I mean? And so I always say, telling people, look, in the back of that person's business, it's called a finance department for a reason. You know what I mean? So don't think that okay, I'm incorporated with the state. I got these business cards and I got a website. I'm going, no, you know what I mean? Look, do you have bylaws? You know what I mean? Like, this is a business. You got to put this thing into motion correctly. Why would you not? And it's yours. You know what I mean? This is coming out of your pocket. Like, you know, when I start breaking it down to people like that, they're like, oh, yeah, I didn't even, let's get that done too.
Yeah, because again, we don't know what we don't know. So to have someone who is accountable or holds you accountable, someone who can cut through the bureaucratic red tape, because that tape is thick and you need some help cutting through that. And someone who's honest, someone who has your best interests at heart. That's your team, that's your people, that's what you want. And yeah, business is multifaceted in that you have to make sure every part of it works, every part. And when you need help with that, you need to go find Tamara, because she'll set you up and set you up properly, set you up profitably, set you up so that it works.
There you go. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And that's just with the consulting firm, which is I love. And so, yeah, with doing this nonprofit work and so forth, and just working to look for these grants and sponsorship opportunities to help these providers. And we're talking about providers that, of course, are in low social economic places. And a lot of times, too often, they themselves have a vision. They see the need in their local communities, and they're, climbing to try to see what can they do. And, regrettably, a lot of the individuals that are actually in need of these counseling services, whether it's for mental health, substance use disorders, or behavioral health, or, fibroids, us women, we're prone to get them, you know what I mean? Transparency, right? And when I'm talking about this thing hits my heart and so forth. Sometimes these women, they can't afford the services. They can't afford the care. And so, different elements of their body start to deteriorate, whether it's mentally, right, or physically, their health and so forth. And so I feel like, it's our due diligence to make certain that we're able to help individuals. And so once more, Maternal Matters doesn't provide direct care services, but we do provide that program oversight once we do receive the funding from different entities that entrust us to carry it out. And so, it takes, looking at, look, we just got you this money, right? Let's make certain, your program is intact. Are you meeting the metrics that are required? How are you spending down these finances? You know what I mean? Let's make certain that that's all intact and so forth. And we monitor them. And so that's like a whole another level of operations, but making certain that, we're being good stewards of what's been entrusted in us, and that they're doing what they're supposed to do, and so forth. And so it's really exciting. And what I love is that, with everything that I do, I was doing it for years for other organizations, helping to build upon someone else's vision, right? And, once I really got my head screwed on tight and said, I can do this too for me, you know what I mean? Like, my name could be, I can do this because it's what I love, you know what I mean? And why I've been successful in my career. Why not? Why not take a chance on myself?
It's because of that calling. It's because of that anointing. Because when you're sitting there, clicking, tapping away for somebody else, I know for me, my mind always said, I can do this for me. Why am I making somebody else rich? Why am I doing this for somebody else? Mm-hmm. And so when you've got that spirit inside of you, nothing's going to stop you from doing it. Absolutely. Nothing is going to stop you from doing it. You may not know the how. We want to know the how always first. And it's good to have a plan. It's good to have an idea of how, but at a certain point, like you said, you've got to take that leap. And for me, I know that I've just totally just jumped off the cliff, and I feel like I've landed in God's arms because he's always there to catch us. Yes. So knowing that you are supported, you're supported even when you don't feel like you can see it, when all the outside evidence is saying, are you crazy? When all the people around you who don't understand this say, what is wrong with you? Yeah. Why are you doing this? There's no, I don't want to say there's no rationality to following your heart and doing what you're called to do, but sometimes you just have to, you've got to trust and believe in Absolutely. You, trust and believe in God. And, yes. There's no way around it.
Yeah, no, I want to piggyback off of that. I started saying to myself, as God was giving me this and God is so smooth with it. He'd be like, here, do that, do this, talk to that person. You know what I mean? And they'll start coming together. You're like, okay, and so where you said, how is this going to get done? And I remember just like earlier this year, and I'm like, is this what we doing? Oh, you know what I mean? And I said, you know what? I'm not going to even ask you no more. That is not even none of my business. If you're giving me the vision and you giving me the energy, I got you. The rest is on you. You just put that yellow brick road together for me, and I'm on it. I'm gonna follow. You know what I mean? And he hasn't steered me wrong.
And the joy and the pleasure and the delight when you start to see the stuff, like you said, like, whoa, really?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, thank you. And always give thanks and appreciation, like always, always for
know.
everything, every
Yes.
day and everything. And you said, you know, like when you're not able to take care of yourself, you know, when your health is deteriorating and like you need finances and things, it affects every area of your life. That is why Dream Life Unfolded is about building mind, body, soul abundance, because we are a whole. We are complete and whole. You can't like take care of like, you know, it's like you're not just an arm. And this is the way I put it, you know, you're not just your head, you're a whole complete thing, and you've got to take care of all of it because it all works together. And when one piece is not working, most of the other things are not going to work either.
Absolutely. It's going to be off kilter.
It's going to be off kilter.
Your
Like
fruit will
there's-
be, you won't bear the I won't say, and I tell people you won't bear, it's not that you won't bear any fruit, but the size of it, you know what I mean? That thing won't be as where the potential of it could be.
And juicy. Like you said, you will be fed and juicy. So one thing you said, I just have to look here because I
Take
don't
your
want to get it
time.
wrong. So you help people write grants, and not just write grants, but win them, because applying for grants is a business in and of itself. And to be able to win grants and on a consistent basis and for everything, you got the power, girl.
It's, you know, it's a collaborative piece. And so what I've learned is I have my clients write them with me. Like, you know, so I have a certification in Lean Six Sigma, and one of the principles of Lean is reducing waste of time, resources, and money. And so I'm like, look, we're all busy. I get it. You know what I mean? You're outsourcing this. Great. But let's do this together. You know what I mean? It's not me going to be here and then I send it over to you and you're like, yeah, Tam, move that. Don't like that. This is not. No, let's build it. Let's build this thing out together. You know what I mean? We're incorporating it in real time. And what I've also learned is that iron sharpens iron. So we're able to, and this is the same approach that I do for business plans. You know what I mean? We're able to build on top of each other's thought processes and words and put that thing together. And it's real nice, thick, hearty, and heavy. And it speaks as we need it to with regards to being able to apply, right? And tell a story of why and the goals and what the funding will be used for and who's going to do what and so forth. And that's just where I'm at, you know. No one has time to waste, you know what I mean? No one has resources to waste, you know, and once more, because of my, I'm really frugal, you know, I'm not out here trying to beat you in your head. Let's do it together. And it's cheaper for you if we do it together. If I do it all by myself, it's going to cost you more. And when you put it like that to people, then they start, yeah, you know what I mean? Because, you know, I promise you I'm not cheap. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead, and I call them think tanks. So block out, you know, a couple days and 3 to 5 hours. Let's, you know, sometimes me and we'll be in there till like 3 o'clock in the morning. Look, this is your baby. You know what I mean? You need to be just as invested in this as I am. And for me, it's not about the dollars. I already know how that looks. You know what I mean? When folks toss money at things, sometimes they're not as invested in it as when they actually put in that sweat. You know what I mean? When they're so tired, their eyes sting every time they blink. I'm like, okay, you tired too? All right. Well, we'll get back together tomorrow. I'll see you in about 12 more hours. You know what I mean? Because my eyes sting too. You know what I mean? And people appreciate that more, you know, and it's all about that grit for me. And then also you become more knowledgeable with regards to how you're making up and building up this aspect of your organization, these operations in which you're talking to someone, right? Whether it's on paper or whatever have you, and wanting to provide a service or goods. I deal with human service providers and so forth, and so it's mostly services.
Okay, so collaboration. It's all about collaboration, and that goes deep because it's teaching a man to fish
That
or
part.
teaching a woman to fish because you don't want to just, they said, throw the money at me and I'll give you something, but do you know what it is? Do you know how to use it? What do you do with it? So
Yeah.
when you've got, and building a business, being a creator, it's all about putting your hands in there, getting it in the clay, mixing it up, taking the
Absolutely.
action, because the action is on you. You're responsible for it. And so in the end, you have something that you understand, that you built, that you know, and something that no one can take away from you.
Yeah.
And the other piece about that is when two or more come together, then it's like we create worlds, and it
Yes.
invites God in, and it invites like everything comes together.
Yes.
So there's more power in, again, having a team, even if it's one other
In
person.
numbers. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Iron sharpens iron, point blank, bottom line.
And yeah, that is so it's the part of business that oftentimes does not get talked about. And so
Yeah.
there's the practicality of the business as well as the creativity and the imagination. And again, it all comes back to it's a whole.
Absolutely. And you know, and some people are kind of like, oh my gosh, you have that approach. Yep. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I learned everything I learned by doing it. You know what I mean? And so I love that you just mentioned teaching a person how to fish. You know, I have a client, and you know, God laid it on my heart to take this brother on, and he did like over 20 years in prison, you know what I mean? And he's starting his business and so forth. And you know, he's having a go at it, you know what I mean, because of that record and so forth. And so he doesn't have a big job, he doesn't have a lot of money. And so it's like, okay, we get together once a month, you know what I mean? I taught this brother how to build the business plan. I taught him how to build a website, you know, like, listen, this is all you need. Everything on here is what you need to have, you know, a sustainable business. This is how much it costs if I'm going to do this, you know what I mean? But let's go ahead and work it through with you and make certain you know how to do it. And so we get together and I give him homework, you know what I mean? And so you need to write a sponsorship letter, go on, you know, and God, you know, this guy's been away for decades. So of course, you know, a little technological challenge, right? And so forth, but still get it done. You know what I mean? This is what you want to do, you know, and let me help you, you know, kind of thing. And so I find that, you know, that's another part of my calling, you know what I mean, where let me teach you, you know what I mean, and so forth, because it's the same difference as if you're going on a job and you get training, you know what I mean? And so this is your business that you want to do, and you have this vision, you know what I mean? You're passionate about it, but you don't necessarily have all of the know-how to do it. All right, well, let me train you to be able to do it, you know what I mean? And it was the same difference where at the end of every year, I do a reflection on the different service line items that I provide to individuals, to clinicians, and what was profitable, what wasn't profitable, what was a pain in my neck, you know what I mean? You know, this and that. And last year it was billing, it was insurance billing, you know what I mean? And so, you know, regrettably, these insurance companies put these clinicians through the ringer, you know, just to get $60-$70 back, you know what I mean? And here I'm charging you a percentage, and then we have to fight an appeal. So now I'm charging you money here. And it was like, you know, and I'm on the phone for like 4 or 5 hours, you know, being transferred here, this. And it was like, yeah, 2022, we're not doing that, you know what I mean? And so some of the clinicians that I, you know, was doing billing for and so forth, I had these talks like, listen, I love you dearly, you know what I mean? But, you know, this is not something that I'm going to be offering you and going forward in the future. You know, I cut off that from taking on new clients. And so what I did was I took the established clients and, you know, hey, let me teach you how to do this. Let me teach you how to do that. I found another alternative, you know, where you can ask the client that's getting counseling to pay this fee up front, provide them with this super bill, you know what I mean, that they're able to take and submit to the insurance companies for reimbursements. Let them fight to get their money back, you know what I mean, instead of paying me to fight, you know what I mean. It was like one of those different things where you strategize, and once more, these providers were able to learn, you know what I mean, and also it allowed some of the providers to make choice decisions. Do I really want to keep going through this? You know what I mean? There's so many with mental health and you know, the opioid pandemic going on, right? There's so many programs out here in which they need providers. The government, you know what I mean, or they're decimating mounds of money into certain programs. And it's like, you just pretty much got to keep your ear to the ground, you know what I mean, and be on ready, you know, when something drops. So what's up with that, right? And that's what kind of led into, okay, well, you know, this organization, they're putting out an RFP, you know, and this organization is doing that, and so forth. Let's move towards those methods of being able to receive funds for operations for your services that you render, because these insurance companies, boy, look at here, they have me wanting to do some bartering. Like, look, girl, can I give me a counseling session? You don't even understand what they put me through, but we got the money.
Well, so a couple of things. You talked about the brother. So he had a situation in his life, and whatever your situation is now, if it is not the most favorable one, it does not dictate your future, even your today or your tomorrow, because that was yesterday. So if you come with a willing heart, you have to come ready, willing, and able. And then you can be taught. And then you can take what's being given to you and own it. And that leads to commitment. So if you you know, you're ready, you're willing, and you're able, you will commit if you've chosen a thing. So you have to choose. You've got to do all of these things. It's that self-reflection. It's that self-analysis. It's that self-counsel. And when you know who you are and you've done the analysis and like, yes, this is who I am.
Yes.
This is what I am doing. You get it done. You will do it. You'll do it staying up until 3 in the morning, like you said, with that grit in your eyes, and you're like writing on the table instead of on the paper. Yes. You know, you will do the work, whatever it takes. And in terms of being technologically challenged, I used that excuse for years. I still use that excuse, but you know, I'm letting that go because it doesn't serve me.
No.
Actually, I have let it go. And there are many areas, a lot of places I need to up my game. But again, as long as you are taking one step in the direction of a thing.
Yes.
One step.
You got to put them strides into place.
Yeah. And the one step leads to the next one and to the next one. But you won't know that. Got stuff going on here. Sorry.
No worries.
Yeah, but you generally won't know what that next step is until you step in. You have to step in.
Yeah, and you have to have your mindset ready to do so. And so that's another reason why I kind of, in a sense, challenge, you know, some of my clinicians with certain projects, you know. So there's tasks in which are one, two things, you know what I mean? It doesn't take a village to do this, you know what I mean? But some of the heavy lifting pieces of operations and projects, you know, let's go ahead and bang this thing out together, you know? And so that's what that is. And my heart bleeds for those that actually want to do it, you know what I mean? That have gone through some things. And one of the next workshops that I'm doing is an exemption, right? Criminal exemption. And so I'm going to be providing some information with regards to individuals who have criminal background records. And sometimes you go and apply for a job, or you want to open up a business, and you have to have that level 2 fingerprinting done. And, you know, your background gets flagged. You know what I mean? It's like, what do you do then? Well, I've seen individuals where like, oh, well, that's the end of that, you know, and it becomes that dream deferred. And it's like, well, let me tell you, there's a workaround, you know what I mean? And it's called an exemption, you know, and it's not an expungement, you know, it's not sealed, but there's that exemption. And so, you know, you able to put together all these different documents, and you're showing proof that, you know, you're a reestablished, re-entered individual in the community, and so forth. And as long as it wasn't something heinous like murder or sexual or, you know, or intense type of violence, you know, you'd be surprised how many different governing bodies will allow you to be granted the opportunity to become employed, or to be able to open a assisted living facility, things to that effect, and so forth. And so it's that same type of thing, you know, where this brother he's done his time, you know what I mean, and so forth, or whatever have you. And, you know, I say that because I went through that, you know what I mean? So like, I really do not do anything for anyone that I haven't done for myself. You know what I mean? I'm not going to tell you how to open up a for-profit, a nonprofit, how to get minority woman certified. You know, like, I am my beta tester. Let me test. I want to do this. Oh, this works. Let me tell some other people about this. You know what I mean? Hey, you can do this. You know what I mean? And so I did, you know what I mean? And where I say perinatal and postpartum depression is dear to my heart, because I suffered through that, right? And it led me to a life of being a knucklehead in a sense, right? Where I made some poor choices. And in the span of 2 years, it was like, really, right? And I worked myself back through that. And here I am going on 20 years back on a straight and narrow. I call it my yellow brick road. You know, God has blessed me with grace and favor, you know, and so forth. And so I want folks to know that, you know what, yeah, you did that. Look what you're doing now. You know what I mean? Let's concentrate on where you're trying to go. And let me try to give you some tools and resources that's going to help you and be successful to get it done. If you got your mind right, are your boots laced up? Are you sure that you want to go ahead and get this? Okay, then come on, let me tell you how to
My
get it done.
people, did you hear this? Did you hear this witness testimony? We can't teach what we have not lived. It just cannot happen. That's like lip service. You can't tell it because you didn't live it. And that is an area that does not get any attention at all, because people not trying to pick us up. So people, if you're listening, if you need something, Tamara McElroy, she is here.
Absolutely.
You can get this done. And just knowing that there's always a way. There's always a way. Like we said, what you did then, you did it. Use it. Move on.
Absolutely.
Do the next thing. Be the next version. And is this woman a conduit or not? Is she not like funneling you through, leading you, guiding you, but teaching you how to do it so that you can teach somebody else, so that you can go ahead and build your baby and nurture it and grow her and evolve it and make it all work and serve humanity. Because
Yes.
she's just serving humanity in all kinds of areas. All kinds of areas. So let me just ask you, and yeah, this is a perfect question. So was there a time when being more, because you are so much more, and I'll just leave it right there, being more, and with that, was there a time when showing up for you scared you?
Absolutely. Gosh, for years I was stifled, you know what I mean, at the thought that, you know, I want to do this. I have this bubbling in me, but, you know, I don't know if I can do it, kind of, you know what I mean? And I would stay, you know, just stifled, you know what I mean, in a realm of, right? In a realm of, well, you know,
you should be grateful that you are where you are, considering kind of thing, right? And I took that thing and splattered it all across my professional and personal life, and like, well, you know what you come from, and you should just be right here, keep your mouth quiet, do what you gotta do, you know what I mean, and so forth. And I had to fight that, because once more I had this thing bubbling up, this, you know what I mean, these babies, plural, non-singular, you know what I mean? And it's like, okay, how, what, you know what I mean? And can I do this? Can you do this? Maybe do this, try to do this. No, you can't do this, you know what I mean? And so sometimes regrettably, we will talk ourselves out of our own blessing. And I say that because for me, it's been such a blessing to just see different operational objectives come to fruition. You know what I mean? I had a provider once, and she reached out and she's like, I want to open up a home healthcare agency. I was like, okay, bet. You know what I mean? Are you established, incorporated with the state? Do you have this? Because I want to make certain, like, hey, am I doing business with someone that's legit? You know what I mean? First of all, at the end of the day, that's how look, right? And she's like, no, but I'm like, okay, no worries. We'll go ahead and get you incorporated. That's something that I do. What is the name of your business? I don't know. And it's like, okay, take some time, think and pray on what you want to name your baby, come back to me, and we'll keep it moving from there. And so it's like that conception where we were able to go ahead and get her incorporated with the state, able to go ahead and get her licensed with the state, able to, you know what I mean, and all these things, even down to job descriptions, so that she could do some onboarding. And it's that blessing that I'm talking about that, is what really riles me up and makes me smile, and how I'm able to go, at the end of the day, kind of thing, right? And so I had to really talk to myself. And once more, you have to do self-work. The devil doesn't want us to be out here and succeeding in what we've been called to do, you know what I mean? And being each other's keepers, and so forth, and so on. And so, you really, really have to get in tune and look at different aspects. If you got to do a pros and cons list, okay, I'm good here, but I'm not so good there. What can I maybe do to better myself there? Is it something that maybe I need to outsource? You know what I mean? Like, you have to really have those kind of conversations and really think and pray on it fast, whatever works, right? I'm just saying, it works for me, right? And I talked myself into it. Who knew? You know what I mean? And of course, it's not as grand and fabuloso yet, right? Because we have them words of affirmation, not yet, but I'm going to get there, kind of thing, right? But you really, if you wholeheartedly keep having this feeling, you know what I mean? And it'd be God like this, look, girl, I gave you something to do. Look, I need you to go ahead and do it. You know what I mean? Then you need to go ahead and just break the chain, find a way, you know what I mean, in which you can just take small little increments to actually fulfilling and bringing that thing to fruition. It can happen if you put your mind to it. And when people say, oh, well, you don't understand, I got this. Look, I told you about what the exemption, you know what I mean? Oh, you don't understand. Look, I understand, you know what I mean? Like, I get it, you know what I mean? Like, I've been in and out of jail institutions, you know what I mean? Rehabs. I've been in a very, abusive marriage. Like, I get it, you know what I mean? Like, don't come at me with all these excuses. These are not reasons when you wholeheartedly want to go ahead and get something done. If you really want to, and this is just my opinion, maybe someone can, tell me and show me differently. When you really want to, you will find that way to being able to do so. You know what I mean? For me, I can't accept a no. You know what I mean? When I know deep down that, you know what, God, I've had this, God, what? Really? Are you sure? Okay, bet. All right, let me figure out how to get this done. If we're gonna do this, you're gonna have to help me out, you know what I mean? And I've just seen it happen, you know what I mean? Even working in jobs and so forth, you know what I mean? I wasn't supposed to be out there working in corporate America, government, you know what I mean? And like, big government names and so forth. And God, he'll provide. I went through where I get it. I had a point in life where I wasn't even raising my son, right? And when I started to get myself back together, this kid thought I was his auntie. You know what I mean? It was like, look, I get it. I totally promise you, I get it. I don't look like what I've been through, right? And so, I understand. And my hairstyle, I have alopecia. So I know what it is to be, a bald-headed person and having low self-esteem and things like that. I had a big gap. Like, look, don't come at me if you're trying to do something in life, anything in life, whether it's personal or professional, and you are really adamant about doing it, you're gonna figure it out. You're gonna get it done. If not,
Yes.
then you didn't really want it.
Didn't want it. You didn't really want it, because everything comes to pass. And your life, you're going to live it one way or another. But if you live it unintentionally and not on purpose and not make choices, then whatever comes your way, which is usually not, which usually doesn't make you feel good, which again, for me, if it does not make you feel good, you need to change something up.
Absolutely.
And again, this is Dream Life Unfolded. What the sister is teaching you about is go in there and pull that dream out. And if you don't think you have one, I'm a big proponent of pen and paper. You said pros and cons, write that stuff down. You got to get this stuff out of your head. Get this stuff out of your head. Let it flow through so you can see the plan, so that the plan can come to life.
Right. Write the vision, make it plain,
Write the
and hang
vision
it up.
and hang it up so you can look at it. So when you get that doubt coming through, like, no, my plan says A, B, C, and I'm at D. So let's keep going. So this has been so very awesome. And I appreciate you accepting my offer to come on and provide motivation, inspiration to celebrate people on this day, because that's all this has been, is a celebration. It's because we're all the same. We've all been through the things. We've all been through the things. Do not think your thing has been any much different than mine or than Tamara's or than anybody else who shows up for you, because there's something to that truth that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And that's God working the plan, putting people, places, and situations in front of you. So if you didn't take notes, you need to rewatch this thing. You need to get another dose of this healing that you've received today. So, Miss Tamara, what do you have to offer for our audience?
Absolutely. You know what? God laid it on my heart for any individual that's, has that burning desire, right? And you want to go ahead and you want to start your own business. Let me help you. I'm willing to give you a free consult, help you for free, get it incorporated with the state, and for free, make certain that you have all your compliance regulatory statutes into place. Get with us, let us help you. It's time for us to formulate and elevate, and that's what we're here for.
Formulate and elevate, and we are here for you. We are here for you. Can you hear that? We are here for you. So, dang, I have the biggest smile because I've been so abundantly provided for here today. And I thank you from my heart. I thank you for sharing time and space with us. We'll have to do it again.
Pinky promise. Thank you so much. I'm totally humbled to have had the opportunity to be on board and have this conversation. And once more, it's my prayer that I touched a heart or two and struck a chord in someone, just to let them know you too can rise,
I'm pretty sure you've touched something somewhere for somebody. I can't imagine that there's anyone here who has not been touched. And if they don't feel like they've been touched, it will seep into your soul. You will know you have been touched, because
Absolutely.
I don't see that as a possibility at all. So Tam, thank you again so much. Guess we'll call it the end of our session, but
Yes,
we'll always leave the doors open.
absolutely, absolutely. Thank you once more and have a good one, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Dream Life Unfolded.